Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Another educational video about the National Fix League. All of the questions in the title of this video are absolutely rhetorical, and the answer to most of them is yes. The one asking if YouTube's helping spread the truth, the answer is obviously not. They're censoring the most important information ever on this platform, and they've deleted a lot of it. But yeah, I want to go over the sick joke in last night's Vikings comeback over the Bears in Chicago with JJ McCarthy. Again, the Chicago product who makes his NFL debut in primetime, beating Caleb Williams, who was drafted ahead of him last year in the NFL draft. Of course, Caleb Williams, the Heisman winner, went number 1 overall. McCarthy went 10th overall and then supposedly got hurt and missed the whole season, only for his debut to begin ever so perfectly on Monday Night Football, as we covered yesterday. If you missed those details, we'll bring it back to show you just how perfect it was with his last college game where he defeated the University of Washington in the championship with Michigan as Harbaugh as his coach. And of course, he's going to play Michael Penix in his next game, the same quarterback who he beat in the college championship. And of course, if you saw that game and you have eyes to see, you know that Penix was helping throw the game, not playing his brand of football, just lofting horrible passes to nobody. Kind of like Caleb Williams last night, supposed Heisman winner, multi-million-dollar man to play the quarterback position, couldn't hit passes that your average middle school quarterback would have all day. Wide open touchdown to Mr. Moore 2 times last night. He missed them both. Again, to be a Heisman winner, one of the best players in the whole nation, there's just no way. There's just no way. National Fix League's a joke. But yeah, what I was hoping to see happen was the league-wide record to finish 10-6 for the 106th season with the Bears, the 106-year-old Bears hosting. And we did get the 10-6 score at halftime where the Vikings went right down the field for a quick scoring drive for 3 points before halftime after not being able to move the ball at all. Specialties of the National Fix League happens every week, and I don't know how the fans don't wake up to it. But before any of the games were played, I was hoping the way the 10-6 was going to fall was so that the Vikings could win, because the Vikings had the true Monday Night Football narrative to win. And they also had a sick joke encoded in their win, if they did win, which they did, paying tribute to George Floyd, who was killed on the corner of 38th and Chicago in Minneapolis. And recall that happened on Memorial Day, May 25th, 2020. Do you see Kevin O'Connell's date of birth? May 25th, 1985, meaning that he turned 35 years old the day George Floyd was killed on the corner of 38th in Chicago and Minnesota. Look at what win number he picked up last night to start the season. He picked up his 35th win, right? And then again, you learn Gematria and all this stuff starts to make more sense. Again, if you're new here, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, Gematria, is based on 4 ciphers that are all based on the alphabetic order of the English language. Chicago's 46 in the most simple cipher. A is 1 up to Z is 26. That should stand out to Bears fans because, of course, you won your only Super Bowl with 46 points with the revolutionary 4-6 defense. With the alphabetic order and numerology, Chicago's 37 in that same cipher, so is Vikings. And when the Vikings took their first lead, after the 2-point conversion, they were up 20-17, 37 points, overlap number. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Chicago's 143, and the Bears would have been up 14-3 earlier had Caleb Williams hit the simple wide open DJ Moore for the touchdown, which again, I'd say, seriously, you guys, you bring out half the middle school quarterbacks in the United States. I'm pretty sure at least half of them would have nailed that pass. And I feel like I'm being modest because I'm thinking to myself, I know I would have hit that pass all day at middle school. And I mean, again, just inexcusable. His DJ Moore wide open, that was an easy pass too. How can you be the Heisman winner and paid all this money to play quarterback and you can't hit these passes? That's why I've just been disgusted with pro sports since the time I was a youth, because you watch these guys and you're like, why am I not the guy then? I wouldn't have missed that. That's a joke. But anyway, 143. Did you see how many passing yards JJ McCarthy had last night, you guys? You see his first game playing his home city, essentially? Here, in case you missed it, let me just pull it up for you. They had it in big fat print at the end of the screen. You got to love Caleb Williams with the 35 attempts, right? But yeah, there's McCarthy, 143 yards last night. 143 against Chicago. And you guys, this stuff goes on every week when you check these box scores. Halftime, final game, it's the same thing week after week. Scripted from the final score to the box score. But yeah, Caleb Williams last night fell to 4-6 at home in his NFL career. That's Caleb Williams' new home record, 4-6. You had the change, the first lead after the 2-point conversion at all, 3-7. And keep in mind, they took the lead with the 18th points, right? Bears 18. It was MNF. We call it the 33 game of the week. The Bears stayed on 33 all-time home wins versus the Vikings. Here, I'll show you that real quick. Bears all-time home record versus Vikings, including playoffs. They are now 33, 29-2. Last game, most current game being last night. So you can see that's through last night's game through September 8, 2025. Anniversary of the Queen's death. Of course, the Queen wore purple like the Vikings. You might recall Prince of Minnesota died on the Queen's birthday in 2016, 4/21. I would die for you. Number 4 letter U. He spelled it. Used the 21st letter. Died on 4/21. But yeah, anyway, just showing you how these systems work. Okay, so all of these numbers played a factor in last night's game. Caleb Williams' new record again. One more time. 4-6 at home is now Caleb Williams' home record. Here, if you need to see it, Caleb Williams' home record in NFL. Oh, that's for this season. Let's write all time. 4-6. There you go. And obviously that's after last night. So, and again, just the 35th win by Kevin O'Connell for his career when the George Floyd thing happened on his 35th birthday. Okay. And again, for all you guys that are like 38th in Chicago, just understand, big number in Minnesota. Minnesota, 38. The day before that Catholic school shooting, there were reportedly 3 shootings in Minneapolis that killed 3 and injured 8. And, when Prince bit the bucket, it was a big 38 ritual. Prince is 38, like Chanhassen. It was all for the election for Trump. That's a whole nother thing. Purple Rain, 58. Vanity had died earlier that year, the day of the 58th Grammys. Trump, a lot of purple rituals with him. Trump equals 88, like purple. But Prince died just before his 58th birthday. In fact, he died 47 days before his 58th birthday as Trump went on to win that rigged selection, again, as the apprentice, when the first degree of Freemasonry is the apprentice, and Trump announced from the 58-story Trump Tower. Remember, Freemasonry is responsible for American football, the Capitol, and all these. Again, it's the reason all these systems work the way they do. Again, Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah, where this whole thing in Gematria comes from. I see Caleb Williams even had 58 rushing yards last night. Okay, so Kevin O'Connell, you can see today's 107 days after his birthday. Again, yesterday was 106 days after his birthday. The name Brian Urlacher was mentioned a lot last night because the first time that J.J. McCarthy went to an NFL game, he was a 4-year-old child, and he saw a game between the Vikings and Bears where the Vikings beat his Bears with Urlacher on the field. You see, Urlacher has the same birthday. So yesterday would have been 106 days after Urlacher's birthday as well. And again, from J.J. McCarthy's birthday, which is January 20th, I just want you to see how perfect this was, his NFL debut. We've always called MNF the 33 event. Today's 232 days after his birthday, right? So yesterday was 231 days. Notice Minnesota Vikings is 231. 231 days is exactly 33 weeks, like MNF is 33. And MNF stands for Monday Night Football, which equals 87. It was exactly 87 weeks since he played his last live action, the college championship, Michigan over Washington. And his second game is going to be against Michael Penix next week. Playing Atlanta is Minnesota. And just one other thing that's interesting about last night's matchup, the number 1 pick versus the number 10 pick, 110, kind of like Minnesota's also 110. See how they did that? Now, here was something else I picked up on the game, because I told you guys before the game, I was leaning towards the idea that home teams would go 10-6. If you went into the Patreon, we went into the greater detail and talked about how the threat was the Bears staying on 33. and also what was going on with the black versus white quarterbacks. Sadly, that's been a real stat that you want to keep track of ever since ESPN ran the article the day before week 1 of the season that ended with Super Bowl 54. The article that ESPN ran the day before that season was "The Era of the Black Quarterback is underway," and the cover photo was Patrick Mahomes, who went on to win the Super Bowl that year. The next year, before game 1, the season of Super Bowl 55, where Mahomes lost to Brady, the article was "The Era of the Black Quarterback is officially underway." We've been paying attention to what they're doing with black versus white quarterbacks ever since. And remember, this is the 106th season. Black equals 106. Black Lives Matter 106. I Can't Breathe 106. So check out what they did with black and white quarterbacks, because this season, the 106th season, you had the most starting black quarterbacks in NFL history. You had 16 black starting quarterbacks, 15 white, and 1 Samoan, Tua Samoan, the guy who replaced Jalen Hurts at halftime for the Alabama championship, where Alabama, the 13 school, came back by down 13. Remember, 13 is the 6th prime. Saban got his 6th championship. The game ended on a pass from number 13 to number 6, and it was a 41-yard pass, like 41's the 13th prime, 13's the 6th prime. Anyway, all right, so look at this. So last night, this was the stat before the game was played. White QBs were 10-4 in week 1 going into Monday Night Football, which was September 8th. And you see how September 8th leaves 114 days left in the year? For the record, it's also the 251st day of the year, which is the 54th prime number. And there was a lot of talk about Urlacher, who wore 54. We thought the over was going to hit. I was thinking the over, I think, was set at 43.5. I would thought the score might end up being 54. It ended up being 51. And for the record, they like to pay tribute to the moon on Monday. That's a moon number. But anyway, you see 114 days remain. So when McCarthy won, it made white QBs 11-4 for the week. Okay. And we're going to go through all the things that matter here. But notice Minneapolis, Minnesota has the 114 connection, right? The game wasn't there, but that's where the Vikings are from. So last white QB, it's a white versus black matchup. White and a black QB who were the top 10 picks of last year's draft. One supposedly hurt and missed the whole year, but I'm pretty sure that was just a made-up story to get another year of experience under his belt for this made-for-TV comeback. Think about I Can't Breathe, the Black Lives Matter. And when you say the Bears choked, they blew a double-digit lead in the 4th quarter. Joe Buck at the end of the game goes, "Man, I haven't seen a script flip like this since last night." And what happened last night? An even bigger choke job. Black QB versus white QB. Josh Allen versus, of course, Lamar Jackson. By the way, did you guys catch that Lamar Jackson's return man this year is Ali? You remember how Lamar Jackson was the 19-year-old phenom after Muhammad Ali died and had a 19-mile funeral procession? And again, for Lamar Jackson's Wikipedia, when he was at Louisville, which is Muhammad Ali's hometown, the whole time he was in college, his birthday was the same as Muhammad Ali's. When he got to the NFL, they shifted his birthday by a week. They just did that with Kellen Moore, too. When Kellen Moore went to the NFL, his birthday went from July 5th to July 12th. We keep track of all this stuff. It's like, look how they shift their birthdays. And again, it makes you wonder is, for example, is J.J. McCarthy, is his birthday really even January 20th? Because that's what made the whole ritual so perfect for it to be 33 weeks after his birthday, as he takes the first lead with a touchdown pass to number 33, Aaron Jones, who we knew was a lock for a touchdown. He was by far the safest bet last night. Yeah, so for any haters out there about what happened to 10-6, hey, what happened to us? Just continuing business as usual, having a dominant week, winning most of our bets. And even last night, we didn't get the 10-6 thing, but we got a lot of things. We got player props. By the way, you guys, again, shout out to Itachi, who had an awesome call. We knew that Caleb Williams was going in the end zone last night for his first career rushing touchdown, and we speculated it might be the first touchdown of the game. If you took Caleb Williams' rushing touchdown for first touchdown of the game, that paid 30-1. So had you bet $1 on that, you would have won 30. $5, you would have won 150. $100, you would have won 3,000. But anyway, last night the Bears got their 231st franchise rushing touchdown from a quarterback, as J.J. McCarthy made his debut 231 days after his birthday. And here, check this out. Bears all-time franchise rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. If you phrase things right on StatMuse, you'll get the stat. Shoot. Bears all-time, let's try it this way. rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. Oh, I got the phrasing right yesterday. How many Bears rushing touchdowns have been scored by quarterbacks? I forget how I worded this yesterday, but if you word it just right, it'll come up. There it is. 200. Last night was the 231st. So pregame, it was 230. You guys don't think this stuff's scripted? You have no idea how scripted it is. And again, having the knowledge, for the douchebags out there, what happened to 10-6? What happened to 30-1 on the hunch that Caleb Williams might run in the first touchdown of the game, number 18 in his 18th career game, playing for the Bears when Bears is 18. Just like how the Bears fans got punked as they lost the lead 18-17. Business as usual. But hold on, I'm not done with what they did with the race. So last night, you can see my notes down here. These notes are before the game. White QBs were 7-2 versus black QBs. And that was after Josh Allen came back. You see how Buffalo Bills is 72? You see that? Allen made it 7-2. White QBs versus black QBs. McCarthy made it 8-2. Chicago, Illinois, 82. Again, a Chicago kid went to his first NFL game growing up a Bears fan, saw the Vikings beat the Bears. They said it broke his heart. Last night, he avenges that narrative, making it 8-2. Now, the one thing that was tricky is had Williams won, it would have become 3-7 for the black quarterbacks, so you had to consider that. And it's not always easy to see, but at the same time, if you have a brain, you can realize it's like, look how they have this set up. Look at this sick joke. And again, we're keeping track of all this before the week even starts. And why are we doing it? Because we realize they've been doing this now since the season of Super Bowl 54. And I've covered this stuff in the past, how they're doing these rituals with quarterbacks, black versus white. Now, for anybody who goes to the website where there's a website online where you can watch every single NFL game. They're all archived there. They start from the beginning. You can see who sang the national anthem if they showed that. Go back and watch last night's game and during the national anthem. I got the bad feeling because I hate putting people on the wrong side of the game. I'd given the idea that it was probably going to go 10-6 for the league-wide record since the week was full of 106 rituals, and that was feeling pretty good when the halftime score was 10-6. And I do wonder sometimes, do they actually flip the script? They use that phrase. Joe Buck used it last night at the end of the game. Well, I haven't seen a script flip like this since last night. And he was referring to Sunday Night Football because it got even crazier the night before. But again, watching the national anthem, I just got the bad feeling right away. The national anthem's going on. If you saw the national anthem last night, the guy was singing was kind of goofy. He was kind of goofy, the guy singing it, just like his mannerisms. And they cut to Caleb Williams first, right? They go to Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams is like making a joke, and he's laughing hard with his teammate. He doesn't have his hand on his heart. He's not doing the pledge or anything, right? He's joking with his teammate. They're laughing about something. In my mind, I'm like, I bet anything they're making some joke about this guy singing. But another part of me thinks it's the script. Like I've said, these guys are athletic actors. They get them on camera, not pledging, joking about something, laughing real hard, not looking real serious. And then from that scene, what's the next scene cut to? It cuts to J.J. McCarthy. And I can't imitate J.J. McCarthy's face. He has a real psycho stare, but he's got his hand on his heart, and he's looking serious as everything. I can't imitate his eyes. He has big eyes. But, I mean, he looked like crazy. He looked like I felt like if I ran in a back alley, a psychopathic killer, I feel like he'd look just like how J.J. McCarthy looked. But in a way, that's almost like how you'd like your team's quarterback to look because you're like, I don't want to go against that guy right now. He looks like he's about to kill somebody. But hand on the heart, right? Because back in the day, that's what everybody did during the pledge. You watch the NFL 20 years ago, they go down, every team's right here, hand on the heart. Ever since the year of Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota, though, right? The year of all the Black Lives Matter protests. Don't forget what we told you in week 3 of that year, why it was going to be the Eagles, the home of the flag, sewn at 239 Arch Street when 239 is the 52nd prime versus the Patriots with the white guy and the flag on the side of the helmet. Again, that, of course, ended up being the Super Bowl. The national anthem was adopted 86 years before that season. Zach Ertz, number 86, scored the winning touchdown 86 days after his birthday. But yeah, Minnesota 52. And by the way, Jalen Hurts came into this season with 52 wins. And it's very probable that Jalen Hurts is going to end up on 52 regular season wins. He came in with 52 wins, including the postseason. It's very probably he's going to have 52 regular season wins by the time they either go into Minnesota or by the time that game against Minnesota ends for his regular season record. Here, I'll just show you this right now. All right. There. So when you go to football database, this has, you got to be careful when you search QB stats because some websites will give you the games they backed up. I like football database because it only gives you their games as a start, which from what I understand is all that really matters. Sometimes the backup games seem to matter a little bit, but I like to go off the starts. So Hurts now has 53 wins because obviously he beat the Cowboys in week 1. That's including the playoffs. But if you go to his regular season, Hurts has 47 wins. Start off with that magic 47. And again, look at the Eagles' schedule here. They got the Chiefs, the Rams, the Bucks, the Broncos, the Giants, and then the Vikings. So if he wins 5 of these 6, he's going to have 52 wins by the end of that Vikings game. And that's they love to pay tribute to history. You know, the Eagles won their first Super Bowl in Super Bowl 52. Philly's the home of the flag, shown at 239 Arch Street, 239 the 52nd prime. This year, the Super Bowl's 239 days after Trump's birthday. A reminder that Trump was what I used to call the Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl because he took on the protesters of the flag, saying everyone protesting the flag should be fired from the NFL. Of course, a line from The Apprentice. But he did that on the 23rd day of the 9th month. And then the next day, Jake Elliott set an Eagles record with a 61-yard field goal. It's like how last year in the Chiefs' 65th season, Andy Reid got his 61st loss to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, losing to his old team, Philly. But, yeah, it's just, you know, when I saw that last night, just understanding just the history, Minnesota, you know, if you go back to the year of the flag protests, I mean, you did get people from both races, but most of the protests of the flag were, you know, black players, Black Lives Matter type of things. Back then, it was still the St. Louis Rams. I still remember they were doing it in a major way because it was close to where Michael Brown, you know, the Ferguson, Missouri killing happened. But yeah, again, if anybody wasn't paying attention last night when they did the national anthem, just go back and watch. You'll see that's exactly how it was. Like I just explained to you. Caleb Williams laughing real hard, making some joke with his teammate. No hand on the heart. And then next shot. And again, tell me J.J. McCarthy doesn't have a psycho stare. He does. He looks like a straight up killer with those big ass eyes. And he looked like he was in full on psycho mode, but he had his hand on his heart, which is the classic thing you do during the pledge. And I'm not judging anybody who doesn't pledge. I used to get in trouble as a kid in school for not wanting to do the pledge. I didn't want to do the pledge as a child in school. 13 years of slave school, pledging to a flag. I saw through all the lies back then. I said, I grew up with a mother who always told me, Zach, never join the military because all this country does is goes and kills poor people overseas to make other people rich. And she wasn't lying. That is what this country does. Most people don't care because they're too into all the distractions, the Coliseum, the rigged football game, and whatnot. But yeah, again, this stuff, you guys. I mean, it's the same stuff. And for anyone who doubts this, you know, I do have a book out there, and if you want to go back and read it, it's from 2020. It was my second book. You know, there's a huge chapter in there on the George Floyd killing, and Amazon brought the price back down. It used to be a lot cheaper. I'm not in control of the price of what the book is. But there's a huge chapter on George Floyd's death. And understand, I finished that book in July of 2020, but they were already syncing up the world of rig sports all over the place with George Floyd. So even in that book, just in a short period of time after George Floyd's killing, you know, within about 2 months of his death, I had the book out. But they'd already done just a number of things in sports paying tribute to George Floyd, and just so obvious. And they've continued to do it year after year, especially when Minnesota and Houston meet. The rituals they've done with Minnesota and Houston and George Floyd have just been crazy because remember, George Floyd is from Houston. But yeah, you know, last night we were all on this way before the game, and I just wish they had lined it up so that had the Bears lost tonight, it would have made home teams 10-6 because it would have made the Vikings just an absolute lock. Again, they had the 33 on their side, which is the number you want on Monday Night Football. We saw the thing about the coach getting his 35th win in light of what happened to George Floyd on his 35th birthday. And it was really hard to go against the idea of 10-6, though. I just wish it would have lined up the other way. And it was, again, 106 days after Kevin McCarthy's birthday. And again, you guys, just nonstop 106 rituals all throughout week 1. And that's why they did give you the 10-6 halftime score. Remember, Armani's the Eagle. The Armani founder, dead before kickoff of the 106th season as the Eagles go on to win their 106th home win versus the NFC East. If you look up, the Armani founder died on his 56th day of his age, and Armani was founded in 1975, which was during the 56th NFL season. And again, Armani's also 29-43 like football. And I'm not going to go into everything else we covered. Again, he died in Milan, which equals 49-22 like Eagles. And it's also 32 like Milan and Eagles. But again, Milan, Italy, also 44. And you know how many 44s were in that game? We covered that. If you don't know, go back and watch the massive 44 ritual on Beyonce's 44th birthday, Cowboy Carter, which began with Jalen Carter spitting on number 4 Dak. Jalen Carter with the 4-4 birthday from Georgia. You know, spit is 44 points in the game. They do a lightning break at 4:44, like Jay-Z's got the 444 album Married to Beyonce, and he's 55 right now, and it was synced with his 55th birthday. Again, it's crazy the way they do this stuff. And again, just also the fact that the Eagles got their 444th win since the day that Kobe was born, August 23rd, 1978. Kobe, the Eagles fan. Kobe number 24, Kobe Bryant 58, Cowboy Carter 58. That's Beyonce. That game was on 58 date numerology. You had the 58-yard field goal for the 24th points. The next day had 59 date numerology. You had a 59-yard field goal in the Chiefs game. That was their highlight. Butker hit the 59-yarder as they lost to the Chargers. And remember, the Cowboys picked up their 59th win the Eagles picked up their 59th win over the Cowboys. And then the next night, the Chargers picked up their 59th win over the Chiefs. Shout out to Super Bowl 59. Then you got Aaron Rodgers getting his 165th win over the Jets, staying on 60 road losses. You get a 60-yard field goal for the game winner for a FU to the Jets fans who thought they were getting the better of Aaron Rodgers. Just, again, you guys... how come in the preseason there were so many 60-plus yard field goals made? What did they do? Add helium to the balls? Did they change the ball? Is there some new technology in the ball? What are they doing this year? Back in the day, a 60-yard field goal was so rare. This preseason, they were a dime a dozen. What's going on? Just like how you got the new commissioner in baseball not that long ago, and all of a sudden just home runs everywhere. Justin Verlander made the comment about, you think it's just a coincidence? You get a new commissioner, now it's just home run city. It's a home run derby out here. Oh, man. Space Invader says, speaking of Super Bowl 52, where number 11 Wentz went down and number 9 Foles came in, Wentz is in Minnesota, and JJ wears number 9. If you go on Wentz Insta, you see many 11-9 picks. Yeah. Very interesting. These people that come in here and just dox the whole time. I mean, can you guys just stop? I mean, do you guys have a life? Like, the people who do this are really just trying to instigate trouble for me. Okay. Here, I'll tell you one other thing. The big storyline, right, is Micah Parsons going to, we looked at this week 1, and this is how we decided, because you on the surface, man, Packers, Lions, that was probably a tough call for a lot of people, especially bettors. You see how Micah Parsons equals 71? You see how Dallas Cowboys equals 74? Well, let me show you something here about LaFleur, because we just did the math at the start of the year. The Packers are going to play the Cowboys for their 4th game of the year, right? So you look at Matt LaFleur, and in the regular season, he has 68 wins now, right? He came in with 67. So if he started off 4-0 versus the Cowboys, he would be on 71 wins, right? After getting Micah Parsons, whose name equals 71. And then if you add in his postseason records, he has 3 more wins. So 68 plus 3 is 71. So he actually started the year with Micah Parsons by getting his 71st career win, right? Micah Parsons changed to number 1. In week 1, he gets his 71st win. So just make sure we got this here. And that means if he wins the next, what did I do? I added an H. If he wins the next 3, he's going to get to 74 versus them boys. You know what I mean? And then also here, this is the way, again, I'll give you guys a few freebies, especially for all you guys on the public or on Patreon. I might have misled you last night with the 10-6. I apologize. Right now, home team primetime records are 3-1. The next primetime game's in Green Bay, right? 3-1. So if we get a win from the home team, it's 4-1. And right now, home records, instead of going 10-6 last night, they went to 9-7. And Washington Commanders is who's visiting the Packers on Thursday Night Football. You see that 107, like 10-7? And if you're saying, well, why didn't you put that? I did see the thread of the 4-1. We talked about that yesterday on our Patreon stream. The 10-7 could have also been 11-6 had it gone 10-6 because Packers have the 116 connection. That is the one thing that can be tricky about this knowledge. Sometimes it's like, oh, man, that could make sense or that could make sense. But that's also why you have a whole slate of games and you can narrow down what were the most exact and safest bets. And every safe bet, the games that I thought that were definitely coming in on Sunday, they all came in. I didn't get my big upset special. You wouldn't say your big upset special is the safest game, but just games that look like absolute locks. The Steelers and Jets ended up being a heart attack. But the thing is, this number like almost never fails in Steelers games. I say almost never because there's nothing that's perfect, but Fields got his 31st loss. You see that? Fields got his 31st loss versus Steelers. Steelers love that number. And like I said, Aaron Rodgers got his 165th win and stayed on 60 road losses. I mean, that's what you live for. So that made a ton of sense. The Panthers, and that game had good value. The Panthers and Jaguars game had good value. Bryce Young got his 23rd loss, Jaguars 23, and Trevor Lawrence stayed on 38 losses, Panthers, with a long history of 38. And we were thinking Kyler Murray would likely win his game so he'd get his 38th win over the Panthers, which is what he'll probably do this weekend. I'm still a little bit shocked the Titans didn't upset the Broncos. It would have been the ultimate 106 ritual. Cam Ward on the 106th day of his age. Tennessee, the true 106 team. Sean Payton could have got his 106 loss. The spread as the game went off was Broncos -8.5. So if you took the Titans with the points, you would have won the bet with the game time line, but they didn't get the upset, which is where the big value was. Brock Purdy was no doubt going to get his 24th win. 24 and Seahawks is rock steady. Lions and Packers, we felt good about just understanding the 4 games out, Micah Parsons narrative. Also, Jared Goff in his time with the Lions, he fell to 41-28. Green Bay 41, Packers 28. You see that? He fell to 41-28, Jared Goff. Green Bay 41, Packers 28. Now, the trick was his career road record could have also have become 41-28. But the overall record with the Lions made more sense, plus the Micah Parsons thing. The Rams and the Texans both love 51. Rams 51. Houston Texans, who hosted Super Bowl 51-51. Rams became 5-1 versus Texans. Boom. And what we said to do for Sunday Night Football was watch to see if it could set up the narrative for home teams to become 10-6. At this point, home teams were 8-6 going into Sunday Night Football. Bills made it 9-6 with the crazy comeback, and you got to love the 41 points. Doing it versus Baltimore 41. And they were on 25 when they had the 16-point comeback in the final minutes. So they kind of did the Baltimore and Ravens numbers. And 81 total points was like Bills. But that kept the 9-6 thing alive. And in a way, I wish they hadn't done that because that's what baited me into going, oh, I guess the 10-6 thing's alive. Got to take the Bears. Even though I was feeling more the 33 thing and the 35th win for Kevin O'Connell. So that 10-6 thing actually got me on the opposite side of where I thought the narrative was with, again, the sick tribute to George Floyd, and that is exactly what they did. And the 21 points in the fourth quarter and the 51 overall points, you guys, they do pay tribute to the Moon a lot on Monday. You see how Moon is 21 and 51 in this system? 21-point fourth quarter. Again, looking at the box score, you had Caleb Williams with 21 completions. And really, I mean, he should have had at least 2 more completions than that. I mean, he missed 2 touchdown passes to DJ Moore. He had him wide open 2 times, and the first time was such an easy pass. It's just like, are you kidding me? Heisman winner? How much does Caleb Williams get paid? Almost $40 million? Oh, man. $40 million, and you can't hit a pass that every QB in middle school should be able to hit. I mean, and again, being facetious there, it's not that he can't. It's a script, you guys. I even think it's so scripted. I think they said, like, listen, the camera's going to be coming by, be making jokes, be busting guts when the camera comes by during the national anthem. That's the look we want for you tonight. J.J. McCarthy looks serious as shit, like you're ready to win a football game. Because, again, that was my – just knowing the way this National Fixed League was, that's exactly how I looked at it. And for anyone who didn't watch it, go back and watch the replay and watch the national anthem and then get back to me and tell me that's not exactly how it was. JJ McCarthy ready to win. Caleb Williams looking like he was in the back of the classroom, cracking jokes. So anyway, yeah, it is a racist league, and that literally paying tribute to race. And if you got here late, again, one more time, white QBs went 11-4 in week 1, and they did it on Monday, the day leaving 114 days left in the year, with the new kid playing for the Minneapolis team when Minneapolis-Minnesota 114. And white QBs went 8-2 versus black QBs in Chicago, Illinois, 82, when McCarthy's the Chicago kid. So, you know, you think that stuff's a coincidence? Again, with his 143 passing yards. As again, the Vikings coach gets his 35th win, who celebrated his 35th birthday, the day George Floyd was killed on 38th in Chicago. Again, Williams, the class clown, falls to 4-6 at home, going with the revolutionary 4-6 defense and the 46 points in the Chicago Bears' only Super Bowl. And again, the meaningful score that sunk hearts. The lead was taken on the Bears with 18. Then after the 2-point conversion, you had 37 all. Vikings, or 20-17 for 37 points on the board. Vikings 37, Chicago 37. Again, the go-ahead touchdown. And just like I explained in the stream, I told my guys, I said, so often 33 will either score the first touchdown or the winning touchdown on Monday Night Football. We've seen it 1,000 times over the years. Aaron Jones didn't have the first touchdown. That went to Caleb Williams, as we talked about. But he did have the go-ahead touchdown, catching the ball from J.J. McCarthy exactly 33 weeks after his birthday. As, again, the Bears stayed on 33 all-time home wins. And if you were here in the very beginning, I'd do Monday Night Football for free. I didn't have a Patreon back in the day. I'd just do it for free. And every week I'd be pointing out all the 33 stuff. And back then I used to live in the Seattle area, and we had Comcast, and I had that TV that you could rewind. I used to just sit in front of my TV a lot and go, look at these stats. I'd pause and I'd say, look at these stats. Look how many just 33s they put on the screen in the last 2 minutes. They're just 33 this, 3.3 that. These guys are 3-3 against each other. It's like, is anyone paying attention right now? I mean, how many 33s can they put in front of your face? And the one thing that has changed is I don't see them putting out 1,000,000 33 stats on Monday Night Football anymore. They will still do it time to time, but I'm telling you, a decade ago when I was doing this, that's how I know we've changed the game, because they're not mocking at the same level they used to. But if you're paying attention, you're going, yeah, number 33 did just take the lead. Oh, I didn't do the math, but God, it is exactly 33 weeks after J.J. McCarthy's birthday. And just for the person out there who didn't take my word for it, that 130 or 231 days is exactly 33 weeks, it is. But here, I'll give it to you another way. His birthday is January 20th, right? The 200. Oh, you know what? That's perfect. I didn't even think of that. God. Okay, his birthday can be written 20/1, right? But January 20th is the 201st day of the nation's age. If you measure from July 4th to January 20th, it's the 201st day of the nation's age. Here, first, I'll give you that one real quick. July 4th. So here, we'll just go any year. July 4th, 2024 to January 20th, 2025. You count the span of days. It's the 201st day of the nation's age. Okay, so Minnesota Vikings 201. And don't forget, that number was all over the George Floyd ritual. George Perry Floyd, his full name, 201. If you don't know about George Perry Floyd's also 231, like Minnesota Vikings. And I think you know what? If you read my book, I mentioned you're going to have to pay attention to what they do with the Vikings and going forward in light of George Floyd. I know I have a sentence about that in my 2020 book, Number Games, that I was just telling you guys about. You read this, you think I'm lying? Read the book and get back to me, because I know I got that sentence in there. Man, they're still doing it all these years later. But yeah, George Floyd's death was compared to a Gematria in Paris, France, who was killed exactly 201 weeks earlier on the 201st day of the year. Remember, his baby mama was Roxy Washington. That's how they always referred to her, too, as the baby mama. Roxy Washington, 201. You had Lamar Ferguson of Minneapolis come out and say that he was beaten and assaulted by the same group of police. And, of course, that played on Michael Brown from Ferguson, Missouri, where Michael Brown's also 201. And if you're new here, that's like the supreme number of the Jesuits. And the Jesuits founded the Illuminati May 1st, 1776. You literally got the 51 points last night in the game, too. Was that a little Illuminati shout out? Again, if you don't know, the founder of the Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, who was a Jesuit, he died in history 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment on May 1st. That's mostly what this book is about, is 201 and why these people use this number. It represents being in the light in Hebrew, like Illuminati means in the light, illuminated. There's a rhyme and a reason to it. In the 16th century, the century of the Jesuits, that's when the heliocentric model was agreed to, that said the sun's at the center of it all, the thing that illuminates the world. Heliocentrism is also 150, like the sun's 150 million kilometers away on average. Notice Order of Illuminati is also 93, like the sun's 93 million miles away on average. I still remember the 35 Thursday ritual with the Browns upset the night that Baldwin smoked the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust right before Ukraine-Russia broke out, which, of course, was right after the Super Bowl ended, where Sean McVay brought his Ukrainian fiance out on the field. But, yeah, if you don't know, Alec Baldwin smoked the Ukrainian woman 201 days after his birthday at 1:50 local time. Illuminati's 1:50 as well. And Baldwin's birthday is the 93rd day of the year. And Brandon Lee was buried on his birthday in 93 on the 93rd day. And of course, they compared that to what happened to Brandon Lee, who died on the set of The Crow, whose death was compared to his father's death in the time of filming Game of Death. And of course, Bruce Lee died on the 201st day of the year. So yeah, this stuff is way bigger than football. Again, everyone's playing for the Lombardi Trophy, who was a Jesuit who died unexpectedly at Jesuit Georgetown. Jesuits, Illuminati, the things really controlling your world, operating by this Kabbalistic knowledge, thus the term the Cabal, meaning like essentially Illuminati. If you think it's all a joke, it's just because they've dumbed you down. And sadly, that's what they've done. I'd say they've dumbed all of us down. So don't take it harshly. I mean, they've made all of us dumber through pokey-dokes, pollution, poor diet that we're bred into and taught that's normal, marketed all this junk food from the time you're young to old. You're watching kids' cartoons, all this shit being marketed to you. You're watching these football games, all this shit being marketed to you. All of this stuff's made us dumber, less healthy, further from our potential. And then you're sitting here watching the chosen ones, the J.J. McCarthys, who they have it all scripted out for, planned decades in advance. That's how this stuff lines up so perfectly. But yeah, again, I hope this presentation, again, made it clear enough. I hope you guys understand how sick this league is. I hope you understand I'll be showing this a million more times as the years go on. I've already shown it a million times. If you don't get it, you got to work on what's up here. You got to eat better. You got to sleep better. You got to get more exercise. You got to read. A lot of you guys really need to read. I mean, the average American reads at a third grade reading level. That's embarrassing. The way to get better is by reading. So, sitting around watching rig sports, in a way, it can enhance your mind if you're actually like watching like a detective, like, oh, I see the script. I see the rig. How could he possibly do that? Did you guys see what they did? You guys, I told you I wasn't watching the games, but I told you I wasn't watching the games on Sunday, but I was listening in my ears. I was listening to the Jets and the Steelers game while I was weeding my yard. That's what I was doing while the games were going on. I had to get caught up on yard work. I've been going with a million things. So I had the game going on in my ears while I was weeding. I know at the end of that Jets-Steelers game, for anyone who was watching it, the ref threw a penalty, and he said a 15-yard penalty on the Jets, and you heard the crowd just erupt, boo, because it was crucial, because it was like 3rd and short, and instead of being 3rd and short, now all of a sudden you got like a 3rd and 16 situation, and then maybe 10 seconds later, the ref comes back to the mic, and he goes, excuse me, it was actually a 15-yard penalty on the Steelers, half the distance to the goal. Now, I mean, you talk about a major swap of emotions. Now, all of a sudden, the stadium's cheering, right? But then the commentators that, I'm listening, but I can tell what they're doing. God, I hate these idiots that come in here and just dox all this information. For all of my trolls who troll me all day, and I got these people who come in here and dox you guys all day, I really feel like you're all part of one operation because I don't do anything to any of you guys. For people who don't know, I have like a dedicated team of trolls who harass me every day. They call my wife at her workplace. They put my information out all over the internet, which might have contributed to what recently happened with my financial hack. But they justify it because they say I have people in my chat doxing them. Now, I've asked my chat to stop doing this a million times. I'm always blocking these people. This has to be some kind of operation that you guys come here and do this so that they can sit there and justify what they do. You guys all make me sick. You guys are pathetic people. Where is the wood chipper? Anyway, Anyway, I even lost my train of thought. I got to wrap it up, you guys. I got a little extended window here to do a presentation, but it really does not. And for people who can't see what they're doing, I am broadcasting on 3 different channels, so they might not be doing it in the channel you're in because I can see 3 different chats at once. But they're just spamming it. It just every time I look out at the chat, they're just the whole chat is just them spamming people's addresses and phone numbers, and it is really annoying. Yeah, I guess I got to throw mods on the other channel. Yeah, I got to look at what channel they're doing it on. Anyway, I do got to wrap it up for now, you guys. Thank you to everyone who's liking the share. Thank you to everyone who spreads this information. If you want to join us on Patreon, where we get the intel out before the games are played, the link's in the description of every video. This year, I made the $20 tier, the NFL tier. You get everything I do, plus the NFL. We do all the sports, streams every day, notes every day. You get a lot of information, the games, the player props for all the games, and you get a chance to win my money every week. Yeah, you're going to want to be on the $20 tier if you want the NFL information, and you do get it. You do definitely get your money's worth. Again, we educate people how to turn $1 into $100. And for example, last night, even though we didn't get the outcome we wanted in the game, Aaron Jones lock for the touchdown. The over looked good. You could have gone 30-1 odds on the Caleb Williams first touchdown, and he was a good payout just for a touchdown alone. DJ Moore was my disappointment. I thought DJ Moore was going to end up in the end zone. And that's where I go. I was like, was he supposed to end up in the end zone? I mean, he 2 times he should have caught a touchdown pass if Caleb Williams could just put the ball in his hands. But I think that was actually the script for him to miss those throws, because I just can't understand how a multi-million-dollar guy who's paid to play quarterback can't hit a throw that literally your average middle school quarterback could have hit all day, every day. So, the losers are back in the chat spamming people's information. Okay, yeah, I got to wrap it up. I'm going to figure out what channel they're doing this on. Actually, hold on. Before I end this stream, let me do this real quick, because I realize I can give out mod wrenches right now. It's probably if you're watching on GematriaEffectNews 22. Let me see if I have mod wrenches there. Because, yeah, we need to get this cleaned up. This is annoying to just have. Every time I look at the chat, all is just people doxing other people's information, which is just. Yeah, it is this channel. Okay. All right. Gold Bricks. You look to be the only person who's not doing it. Gold Bricks, you have earned yourself. Gold Bricks, you are going to be a moderator on GematriaEffectNews News 22, because I think you're the only person in there besides the trolls watching that channel. Gold Bricks, you just got yourself a wrench. If this is the channel you normally watch on, Run Your Pockets is in there. Let me get Run Your Pockets. If anybody wants a wrench on GematriaEffectNews 22, just hop on over there. Because, yeah, I think that's what they're doing. I think they're using this channel to just spam and dox. Rick James is here. I'm going to scan all these channels right here. All right, Rick James, you're now a moderator. I see Open Up in there. I'm going to give you one Open Up, of course. All right. All right. All right. We got some wrenches in GematriaEffectNews 22. Somebody's in there saying debate Logan. Logan doesn't want to debate me. I'd be happy to debate Logan any day of the week. Logan, come on here and tell me all this stuff's organic, and we'll all laugh at him, those of us who have a brain. He doesn't want to debate. He's already made that clear. All right. All right. Benito wants a. I hope I'm not giving a wrench to anybody who is a troll themselves. All right. We'll leave it there for now for the wrenches there. Let me check out if we need wrenches on other channels right now, because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. All right. Gematria Effects Sports. So we got mods up in here? No, we don't. And we got trolls spamming everywhere. All right. All right. All right. We're going to have to give some wrenches. I know Gary. Gary, you can have a wrench. I'm giving wrenches to people I recognize in the Gematria Effect Sports channel. If I don't recognize you, no hurt feelings. This is, I know Gary because he's come out and pounded payment with us. He's a veteran. Anybody else in the Gematria Effect Sports want to get rid of these trolls when they start doxing people's information? Rick James is in here as well. Run Your Pockets is in here. All right. Yeah. Austin Ryan, I do recognize you. Have a wrench. Thank you for being around all this time. All right, Moneybag, you can have a wrench too. Yeah, anytime you see these people doxing people's information, just instant ban. And really, that's all I want you guys to block. Like this guy. Like he's already in here. How do they spam like this anyway? I mean, it's just like ridiculous. How do they post so many messages at once? Can you imagine that your life is about being like a professional troll online? Think about how pathetic that is. Okay. Let me see what it looks like on my main channel. And by the way, if you guys don't know, I mean, the main channel is Gematria. Well, I changed the name to Number Games with Zachary K. Hubbard. That's the main channel now. All right. All right, we got plenty of wrenches on the main channel. I'm gonna give an extra one out because these all right, Gary, you can have another wrench. Chris, you can have another wrench. Because these trolls are out of hand. All right, Sinister can have one too. He's all right. All right. Yeah, Chirac family, you've been around forever too. You guys try not to like don't ban people unless pretty much the only thing I want you guys to ban people for is if they're doxing information. So if you got a wrench, don't just block. Like you can let people troll a little bit. If it's just nonstop trolling and it gets stupid, then you can give them the boot. But if that's all it is, that the only reason they're here and it's clear as day, sure. But really, the only thing I want people to ban for is this doxing of information because it's super annoying. Okay. All right. Yeah, we talked about the Randy Moss thing, and then he won his cancer battle. Cancer's another big 44. A lot of 44 rituals this weekend too. All right, guys. I gotta go do other things. Normally I'm with Sweet Girl at this time, but got a little break in my schedule. So again, thanks to everyone who's liking the share. Thanks to everyone who supports the work. You want to join us on Patreon? The link is in the description. The $20 tier gets you 1 month's coverage. If you stay a member, it'll bill you $20 on your renewal date once a month, and cancel anytime. But hopefully not. Hopefully you like it. I mean, you do get a lot of work, and you learn this knowledge. You learn it the way we know it. Again, I'm not trying to turn people into gambling junkies. My motto is stop wasting your money on stupid stuff. Stop paying for the overpriced coffee. I mean, why spend $5 to $10 on a for all you guys who drink coffee in the morning full of sugar and shit? That is so bad for you. If you're gonna drink coffee, drink plain coffee. Who cares if it doesn't taste good? You gotta change your mindset about things. How come these trolls are still spamming away? I got so many wrenches out there. Stop spending money on junk coffee, okay? Stop that. Make your coffee at home. If you and you know, even those, well, I guess it's a lot cheaper than spending $5 to $10 at Starbucks, but those coffee pod things, that's even kind of expensive. It's so easy to make coffee, and when you make your own coffee, I mean, it's costing like pennies for a cup of coffee. Pennies. Your whole month's coffee supply is probably going to cost you $10. It might cost a little bit more than that. And again, instead of wasting that money each day, it's like, you guys, seriously, I used to have an ex years ago, and she'd say, how do you save so much money? Like, I don't know how to save money. I'd say, I said, "Don't you go to Starbucks every morning and spend 25 bucks?" And she like laughed and she said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay. What's it if you don't spend 25 bucks 5 days a week before you go to work, that's 125 a week, that's 500 a month." I said, "What's that over the course of a year? 6,000?" And then she did the math. She's like, "Wow. I never realized it was that much." That's the problem with the average American. They don't do simple math like that. You don't realize how much money you're wasting. You're wasting $6,000 a year on some like muffin that you don't need and some sugary coffee that's bad for you. Like you don't need any of that. And not only are you wasting 6,000 on stuff you don't need, you guys, I don't understand how in my chat it's still all full. Like, I'm not. Is anyone banning? I just gave you guys wrenches on channels. Is anyone banning these people? I bet you it's on Gematria Effect News 22. Gematria Effect News 22. I might need somebody to just be clutching. I'm probably going to, you know what? Maybe I'll just stop broadcasting on that channel because they're using that channel, I think, to do this, to just spam crazy, dox people's information. It's really annoying. But yeah, just I was saying wasting all this money on this junk food. I got to wrap it up, you guys. But you're putting stuff in your body that over time hurts you too, and then you're gonna have medical bills later in life, diabetes, all this crap, obesity. All right, I got to wrap it up, you guys. Have a great day. Till next time.